Hello, Michelle.
Hey Jackie, how are
Can you
you?
hear me?
I can hear you.
Excellent. I just want to join the meeting earlier.
Perfect.
Yeah, let's make sure you can hear me. Let me pick a background. Oh, that's not good. It's not good. This is good.
Do you have your camera on?
Yes.
Oh, I can't see you.
Yeah,
There
just
we go.
my regular, not very pretty background.
It looks like Christina accepted the meeting, so she may just be running late. So we'll just hold out for a couple of minutes here, Jackie.
Okay.
Michelle.
Yeah. We haven't started the recording yet, have we?
It looks like it is, yes.
Okay.
We'll just hang out until she joins.
Okay.
Great. There's Christina.
Sorry,
All right.
text.
No problem.
Okay.
All right. We've started the recording, so I will call this meeting of the Englewood Environmental Foundation to order. It is Thursday, June 23rd, 2022, and the time is approximately 10:34 a.m. So our first order of business is to approve the minutes from our April 21st meeting. So it's been almost 2 months since we met. Have you both had a chance to review those minutes?
Yep.
And if so, will someone offer a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of, what was it, April
21st, I think.
21st, 2020.
Okay, great, thank you. I will second that. So moved by Director Underhill, seconded by Director DeAndre. Any further discussion or questions?
Nope.
Okay. All those in favor, or excuse me, Michelle, could you please take the roll?
Director DeAndre,
Yes.
Director Lowe,
Then,
Director Underhill.
Yes.
All right, motion carries.
Thank you. And it now is the public open portion of the meeting for the public. And it doesn't appear that we have anybody on. Is there anybody that you're aware of, Michelle?
No, and I didn't receive any emails either.
Okay, great. So we'll move on from that. And our new business item is listed as the trespassing policy. And we've had a request to basically talk about this as a board and consider essentially a camping ban where there'd be no sitting, lying, or camping on the EAF grounds. And that basically the police would be allowed to remove them if that's the case. So that's what we're going to talk about today and determine possibly if that's of interest. So in talking with Tamara, the city attorney, as well as Kate Parker from the city attorney's office, basically, since EAF is a private property owner, it is not required to follow the same procedures as the city for exclusion and ejection. So right now, as you both probably know, the city does not enforce or have a camping ban within the city, but we could still do one on EAF if we so choose as a board. So basically, we could decide that there's no sitting, lying, or camping on EAF sidewalks and property, excluding benches. So of course, you could still sit on that and lie on those. And then what we would do is basically develop an ordinance. If there was consensus from our board, develop an ordinance that we would pass and then implement. And basically that would allow our private security company to work with the police to remove those individuals. As I'm sure you both have heard, we've had an increasing number of incidences, especially interactions between employees and people basically hanging out in that courtyard area, or that area between us and the guild. The guild has reached out to City Manager Lewis as well, and their patrons are very concerned about their safety as well. So I think at a minimum, we would want to probably consider, this area between the two buildings, possibly the circle. I know the graffiti is just going rampant. So the amphitheater area too, that tends to be where people will camp overnight. So if we wanted to maybe not include the entire EAF area, maybe there's certain areas that we could target as maybe a first step. But I know, we have TerraCare doing our day porter services. That's pretty much all they do is clean up and do graffiti removal now. Just because of the number of people, on the site, it feels like. There was another significant incident, I believe on Tuesday or Wednesday of this week too, involving a person out in front of the Civic Center. So that would be the process, is we develop that ordinance and then allow the security company to work with the police. So with that, I'll open it up for discussion and any questions that I might be able to answer.
Maria, I learned our manager, John, is no longer with city. So I wonder if we create this policy covering more areas, including a circle, will that make the cleaning or the management easier. I want to consider that aspect as well.
Sure. I think that's a good point. I think it's going to be how diligent is the security company going to be to, you know, work with PD to relocate these individuals.
Okay.
So I think then, you know, it's meeting, so Trey Blake from the facilities group is kind of overseeing now the EAF
Okay.
contracts. So
Okay.
he's been in contact with the security company, and he's kind of their point of contact. We did have we've got the new company, which is called Twin Cities Security. But then we had a switch in the person who was doing the daytime hours. We had a really diligent person, and she was walking around a lot.
Okay.
And now we've got somebody who is tending to stay in their vehicle. So it's all about the person, I think, that we get. And so Trey reached out to the management of Twin Cities to say, hey, they need to be out. They need to be more visible, especially here at the employee entrance in the morning. And we were talking this morning, I was talking with Trey, and, you know, right now at this time of the year, less of a big deal, right? Because people are coming in the morning, it's light out, they're leaving and it's light out, but wait until the fall and winter when those daylight hours tend to get shorter, it's going to be more of an issue. But I think overall, yeah, we're getting comments quite a bit. I guess the other thing I forgot to mention, and I'll throw this out, is, you know, the potential, do we need to do a survey of employees to say, is this a good idea? I'm already guessing what the results are going to be, so I don't know if that step is necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing is, sorry, if we create this policy, I know I didn't observe myself, but some of the feedback I received from my staff, they saw some people taking shower at a fountain.
Yeah.
Will this policy exclude that kind of behavior as well, or just camping, lying? How far do we want to go?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it should, because that if they're using soap at all and those bubbles get into the system, it damages and causes, you know, more maintenance needs for our contractors. So I would include that. I think that's a great.
Okay.
Do we have a sign at the fountain that says no bathing or showering posted?
I don't think so. I mean,
That might be something to add.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I don't disagree. There's definitely been an increase in vandalism here at the Civic Center, increase of individuals camping, sleeping, staying for long periods of time. Some are blocking walkways. We've had complaints from library patrons when you get some individuals between the breezeway or in the breezeway between the library and the guild of being extremely loud or playing music really loud, which is disturbing what's going on inside our facilities, both the guild and the library. So I'm definitely not opposed to doing some sort of ban, whether it be a camping or what you've discussed previously. I think it's needed. We do know what happens when that goes on is then individuals move elsewhere, and then it creates other issues in doing that. But I know there's a lot of things in play regarding addressing homelessness and getting people into more stable lives and situations. And so I think this would be a somewhat of a temporary fix if we were to put this in place, put a policy ordinance in place to keep people from staying around, not conducting business on this property.
Yeah. Okay. Any thoughts on limiting the area or just doing a blanket on EAF?
My concern with limiting is we'll find loopholes. You know, if the parking garage side along those bushes there, that's not part of it, people will then migrate to that location. So I'm tempted to not do more of a specific and just do the whole EAF property.
Another thing is that, Maria, let's say if we don't do a blanket, will the homeless people be able to get into our facility and stay within our building?
Well, and so, you know, Kate had created these city standards of behavior.
Yeah.
So we would reference that in the ordinance that
Okay.
that would apply outside, and that already applies inside. So I think we have something to address behaviors that are going on inside the building.
Okay.
Mhm.
It seems if we can make the policy consistent
Mhm.
for activity outside or inside, that might be easier or for people to understand. Yeah.
And to your point, Christina, it would then, we probably need to add signage, around the site to notify people of this too.
Yeah, that
Or like-
always helps, at least in the enforcement piece, to point that out. Yeah, for sure. Question, so inside, I believe that is called out in the standards of behavior where you can't block, entryways or walking paths or anything throughout the facility itself. So I think I answered my own question. That would just be applied outside then too, the standards of behavior. Okay,
Mhm.
yep, okay.
We might go into a little bit more depth. I'm not sure who's going to write this, but we'll have to run it by EAF legal counsel, of course. But yeah, I could see taking a lot of that language and making it applicable, and then referencing as well, just as kind of a double, that the city's standards of behavior apply outside. Mhm. And then we'd use the same ejection form, or something similar, so that there'd be a paper documentation of this procedure with folks.
Is that something Twin Cities would then be authorized to issue, or would it still be city staff? We would authorize them?
That's a good question. I think it could be either then,
Okay.
but
That'd be
it'd probably be better working through Twin Cities, since technically, like, let's say a library employee is not an EAF employee.
right.
So it might be okay for like Trey, because he's partially paid by EAF. But I think it might be cleaner just to go through Twin Cities. They've been trained, and then they work. So Trade, let's say, would notify Twin Cities. Twin Cities would work with PD then at that point to get them involved.
And it's still a process. I just came up from the library. It's still a process between PD and city staff and how this all goes. So I think it can definitely work. The training is definitely needed across the board.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. I don't think that we need a vote necessarily. I just wanted to gauge your both of yours interest in this. I guess, is there, or I'll just get a nod or a yes from you if there's interest in drafting an ordinance of some sort that we could review and then take formal action on that. I think that's both okay with both of you. Okay.
Yeah, I would agree. I think legal definitely needs to give their input, just like Kate's thorough dissection of what we can and can't do legally, what makes sense, and would want to apply the same for the EAF property. So
Yeah.
This is going in the right direction. Yep.
Okay. Great. I will do that. I will work on that with them. All right. Any other additional new business? Okay. Yeah, again, we're just seeing a lot more activity, a lot of graffiti, a lot of damage. So I think this is a good step, but Trey is spending a lot of time out on the site. We are going to also address, excuse me, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say the hope is going to be this will help clean it up. That's the unfortunate part why rules are put in place and ordinances are put in place to address issues like we're experiencing, because it's costly too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a heads up to Christina, our Director Underhill. There's quite a few dead trees like around the circle and then along that east side of Inca as you go up towards Cushing. That's still EAF property on the east side. Right. Where that brick wall is. So Trey's going to work with TerraCare, who's our landscaping contractor, to do an inventory and replace those dead trees along Inca. I think there might be a couple along Floyd too, where that dog walking area is. But the ones out front here that may be affected by the redevelopment, we're just going to remove at the base for now and not replace them and not pay for the cost. And so just basically cut them off at the ground and remove the dead trees.
That makes sense for now, knowing we may have change in our future.
Yeah. We can always install them later if
Okay.
that doesn't come to fruition. So
Okay.
we thought that was a good step process at this point, but those dead trees are, yeah, looking pretty bad. So we're going to get on that too.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you both. Appreciate it. So we'll end the meeting at 10:49 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.